Galaxy Quest is a parody of Star Trek that does everything right. Basically, it's a story of the actors from Star Trek being picked up by actual aliens that saw Star Trek and thought it was all real. Even if you just have a fleeting knowledge of Star Trek, you'll see what I mean. And if you're a fan, then you'll find yourself in stitches over some of the references in this film. Star power is really what brings this movie to the next level, keeping the comedy crisp and flowing. Some of the special effects have become dated over the years, but it adds to the comedy in my opinion. If you're looking for a nice sci-fi comedy, look no further than Galaxy Quest. It's a gem in the rough. Superbad is the story of 3 high school seniors looking for that legendary high school party we all quested after. Superbad was the film that made Seth Rogen's career, and for good reason. It stands out as one of the most iconic coming-of-age movies of our generation. It may be going a little far to say it's our generation's American Pie, but hey, I just said it. The humor of this film is pretty cringeworthy throughout, but really isn't that what high school was for most of us? I find Superbad to be one of those films that gets better each time I watch it. As you learn how to embrace the cringy humor, you start to appreciate just how real a representation of high school life Superbad is. Hell, Seth wrote this thing when he was 15, so how could you get a better perspective? Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite film in the Marvel franchise to date. It manages to take a host of unknown heroes and bring a level of flavor and depth to them that keeps your attention. Guardians is the only superhero film I've seen that manages to dodge all of the pitfalls of the genre with grace. Long bouts of exposition are stripped away and replaced with some nice humor, and everyone is so unknown that the altered origins don't incite nerd riots. This isn't the typical hero origin story we usually get. It's its own independent tale that carries itself without relying on iconic heroes and villains. I really didn't expect all that much from this film, so it's really nice to be surprised. If you go and watch it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It really seems like a nothing movie at first, but it just does everything right and comes off as a really fun time. While it may not be a work of art, it is just an enjoyable movie. I think almost anyone can find something about it to enjoy. The Departed is one of the best crime movies out there. The levels of deception and intrigue are met by few other pieces of media. We watch the tale of an undercover cop and a dirty cop squaring off in a fight of information. The frantic battle of wits between the two is a spectacle to behold. Of course, the acting is top-notch, with A-list actors falling from the rafters all over this film, and the music is great too, but it's the story itself that makes this film better than almost anything else in this genre. I can't possibly cover everything I want to say about this film in this quick recommend, so what I will say is that if you enjoy thrillers, dramas, or even just Leo, you need to watch this film. It's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, and you're missing out if you haven't seen it. Another Scorsese film, Wolf of Wall Street, is a very interesting movie. We follow the wolf's climb from the bottom to the top of Wall Street, and we get a view of a culture that we may not even realize exists. It's made in the same style as things like Goodfellas or Casino, but we follow a stockbroker instead of a gangster. Honestly though, he does more damage than either of those guys possibly could have, and it's all completely legal. I think one of the best reasons to watch this film is because it's based on a true story. It is of course beautifully directed by Martin Scorsese, and yes, the acting is phenomenal, particularly Jonah Hill's performance. But I think its best feature is that it's enlightening. This is how the world turns for the 1%, and that's a bit of a scary thought that sits with you well after the credits roll. A lot of people say that it's because of that commentary that this film received no Oscar nominations. Check it out when you have time. It's so well paced that its extensive runtime is only noticeable because it eats up your entire day. That said, it's a time well spent.
So, that was Netflix Recommends 10. Is it the final one? You betcha. Maybe. Tune in next week to find out. You might see it in your subscriptions. Millions at home, everybody's enthralled, and we're going to kick this off with a discussion of Guardians of the Galaxy. Easily the most, let's see it, kind of recommendation on the list. Like, who thought it was bad? Who thought it was amazing? Like, no one, but you can just kind of throw it. It's bread and cheese, man. You can just give it to anyone.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, it's funny, it's got action, it's got good acting. It's also really nice because you don't need to know anything about anyone in it. Like,
Nope.
I looked up a lot of the characters afterwards after having seen the film. They changed the origins. It doesn't matter.
No, it's totally fine. And, for the actors and where they've been in other movies, don't worry about it. You don't need to know anybody, really. Yeah. You know,
You might get a kick out of seeing Chris Pratt fit and healthy. That was neat. But overall, it was a really nice film. I found it's my favorite out of the Marvel franchise. Just because it's really palatable. It's just...
Yeah. Well, if you think of comparing it to something like Thor, where Thor goes, giant warrior aliens, and Guardians of the Galaxy is a bit more colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see it all sort of integrated.
Yeah, I'm probably most interested to see where that goes with Infinity War and Guardians 2 and everything, to bring it into the fold with the rest of the Marvel Universe. Because it feels pretty separate right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe we'll get the Venom Corps, because that's a... Well, not core, but there's a planet of Venoms, and we're getting that Spider-Man movie. Speculative, maybe.
I doubt it, but that'd be nice.
But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, if you haven't seen it already, it's on Netflix. I don't know, like, it's like Star Wars is on Netflix. I don't even have to put that on the recommends. You just kind of know that it's a fun time. Just throw it on, get through it. You'll enjoy it. Next on the list, we have actually two by a wonderful mainstay in cinema history, Martin Scorsese, and we'll start with his 2005 release, Departed.
One of my favorites. It's top 5 for me. Like I just love the characters in this film, the intrigue, the back and forth, the cat and mouse.
The hyping yourself in the mirror. You got this, Leonardo DiCaprio. Your life is fun.
Everything is okay. Everything is just fine. Like, if you don't feel for those guys, either of them, at any point in the film, you're inhuman. Yeah.
And even if you weren't keeping up, the end surprised a lot of people. But yeah, even if you weren't keeping up and it just seemed sort of like out of the blue, the film has such a good pop and rhythm to it that C'est la vie is just kind of the tone, you know? It's really pessimistic.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a happy movie by any stretch. It's a drama and a thriller, and if you want a happy movie, don't watch The Departed. I mean, it's called The Departed. What are you expecting?
Terrific cast. Unlike Guardians of the Galaxy, who has, that's a good cast. But this one, everybody is working their ass off to really push.
I don't think Jack Nicholson has done a film that well in years. I don't know.
A scary man.
Yeah, not that he's a bad actor or anything, but he pulled out his A game.
Yeah. Look what challenges you, and sometimes the material is so good it brings that out of you, and that's why you need these seasoned veterans always going back to people like Leonardo DiCaprio to. Oh my God, he is just
Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, Leonardo, just so many good actors all over. Alec Baldwin, who's pretty hilarious, honestly.
Yeah.
I really love The Departed. It's my favorite on the list.
Put you on the spot here. Skill testing question. What's the actress's name?
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, I actually should know this too. Yeah, I had looked it up at one point. I really like this movie. I just can't remember right now. You got me on the spot here.
If it comes up during the review, so be it. But, like we said, if you're looking for I would call it a crime thriller. I would call it sort of a...
It's almost a mystery.
It's almost a mystery, there's a... intrigue to it. There's definitely intrigue.
Yeah.
There's definitely personas at work here. Wonderfully written, wonderfully acted. And let's just jump on into the other Martin Scorsese movie on the list. Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Oh, Jonah Hill, man. Keep acting. Oh, shit.
Yeah, you didn't know Jonah Hill could act, did you? Because we're going to talk about another one of his films after this one. But in this, holy crap, Jonah Hill. He just knocks it out of the park with this performance. And not just, everyone else is great. Leonardo DiCaprio is great. And
I know a lot of people maybe have felt that it was 3 hours, but I didn't. I can't believe it. It was just thing after thing after thing, keep me going, man. Oh.
Yeah, you just sit down and it's like, oh crap, the sun went down while I was watching this. That was my reaction after watching it. I didn't, because I saw it in theaters, and getting out, having the sun down, what? How long was I in there?
And the tone of excess without retribution, without due punishment, just...
Well, it's kind of an insight into a world we don't really get to see, that 1%, that top line. And a lot of people actually say that's why it didn't get any Oscar nominations, was because of the fact it drew light onto a culture that would better be left in the dark.
On to that note, if you're going to judge any of these people, these fictional characters, for their, them being successful, look at all the charisma they pump. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's a good talent to lie and make money. I'm not saying it's a virtue or that you're blessed to have it. But holy crap, the amount of charisma constantly pushed.
They're salesmen, right?
They're salesmen.
100% salesmen.
It's just such a kick. It's such a fun kick of a film.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not too close to the actual true story, but I don't think that's too important at the end of the day.
No. But the really awkward thing is I can't recommend it unless you bring it up, you know? It's not the kind of movie I would hand out to everybody.
It's a movie that I think is worth the experience, honestly. I think, like, I would recommend it if you enjoy watching film. Like, if you're a fan of film, if you're a fan of culture, or if you're a fan of that style of narrative that things like Goodfellas, Casino, City of God, Lord of War does, where it's the one person's perspective and their adventure through life. This is that, but with a unique spin and with a bigger budget than any of the films I just mentioned.
Probably, all things considered.
Definitely. I mean, I like Goodfellas and Casino and all that, but this film, you can see where the money went. And
Yeah.
It's just a really nice ride altogether. I mean...
Speaking of ride, let's have Jonah Hill take us back to Superbad.
Yep. Yeah, Superbad.
Would you call it a comedy drama?
A little bit.
Yeah, like there's some downbeats, there's some heart-to-hearts, there's some boys.
You know, for me, it really feels like this generation's American Pie. I don't know, it's so awkward and poppy, and it's not like an amazing movie.
No.
But at the same time, it really captured my high school experience, and a lot of people I've talked to, you know, that awkward, cringe-worthy humor that's almost better in retrospect. Like,
Yeah.
talking about Superbad is fun.
But you didn't go for a house party where you had a doc like you did in American Pie 1 and, you know, have your first time and watch the sunrise. No, it was a shitty idea and it got worse.
Yeah, you know, like, having your first time, I don't know about you guys, not the most romantic of occasions. And you know what? That's more true to life for me.
Yeah.
A lot of that in there.
The movie takes it to those awkward points and it pauses for them sort of sitting around tripping over words more than it does as highly as American Pie would overblow a situation as having sex with a pie. It really,
yeah,
sure, McLovin's a weird situation, but it's also got that SNL feel that a lot of us remember. Oh, the digital shorts were so good. Came out around the same time as that heightened popularity. But who would you recommend Superbad to?
I'd recommend Superbad to anyone, well, honestly, up until like 30 plus. I mean, maybe you enjoy it if you're older than that, but I just think you enjoy it when you're kind of close to high school, just getting out of it, or if you're in high school still, you'll enjoy it. It was written by Seth Rogen when he was 15, so it's coming from that place, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not a sophisticated movie, but it is one that I watch every so often, every few years. Like, it's not an every year movie, but...
With a single film answer, and you have two choices. What's better, Neighbors or Superbad?
Superbad. 100%.
Really?
100%.
Oh, we're going to bring this up later on in life. But we got to move it on here. We got... What's left?
Last on the list is an old favorite of mine, Galaxy Quest. We get the cringe out of Jay over there, which kind of tells you
it's a preemptive cringe, though, because I watched it with no knowledge of Star Trek years ago, and over time, people grow on you. Snape grows on you. I know he has a real name. Tim Allen grows on you. I know he's
done some things. Sigourney Weaver is also in here.
He's done a lot of things, and since, it's just... I'll rewatch it because my man tells me it's great, but...
maybe not great.
Maybe not great.
But it is a really nice film. I think that the way it captures like the sci-fi cliches, and especially the way Comic-Cons have blown up now. Like, when this was made, Comic-Cons were way smaller things, way nerdier things, but that idea of the nerds, you know, that nerd culture, and how separate an actor is from their role. Because this is all about the actors being taken up into space and, like, expected to be the people they perform.
Yeah.
And that's what you expect now with Comic-Cons, you know? Like, William Shatner has kind of grown past that, but George Takei is still Sulu in a lot of ways to people, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the nature of it, where you see these roles on TV, and the people that you're seeing are actual people. They're not these characters, even though we like to pretend they are. I think it's more relevant now than it was when it came out, honestly. And I think it's really cool for that, and I think it's
a good point of writing when you cover your bases as such.
Oh, it captures so many wonderful nerdisms, and just so many references in there. Top-notch acting too. Like those are A-list actors. Well, Tim Allen was an A-list actor. I'll have you know, there was a time.
Just because you make a whole lot of family movies that don't ask too much out of you doesn't mean A, you didn't enjoy making them, and it doesn't take away from your prior performances or during. And well, that does it for Netflix 10. Will it be the last one? Who knows? Do you have a question for the millions at home so we can wrap this up?
What would be the best question to ask you? I feel like I should say, what's your favorite Scorsese film? There's 2 on this list this week. Are there other Scorsese films?
Taxi Driver. Oh no, Raging Bull's better. No, Raging Bull's boring.
It's a broad subject for sure. I mean, for me, The Departed takes the cake, but tons of people disagree with me for good reason too. Like,
yeah, maybe.
Well, anyway,
whatever gets you pumped up. Thanks for watching. If you love what we do, support us on Patreon at best. But hey, if you're just in the area, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We ask you a question, give us your answer. See ya.